to miss annotations. They were actually pretty useful, unlike those stupid cards and the YouTube default end credits stuff. Oh well. Hello everybody and welcome to this delayed episode 30 of the Train Simulator News Show. I understand many of my viewers want me to release episodes much more frequently. In a way, I want to release episodes much more frequently, but I prefer quality over quantity. And if it means an episode is delayed for, well, 2 months or even 3 months, so be it. I want to produce content that I feel happy about. And even if I make mistakes, I want to try and correct them. It doesn't have to be on a regular basis because, well, I'm not making any money from this, okay? So, the original plan for this episode was changed. Originally, I was going to review the MTU Enhancement Pack from the Armstrong Powerhouse. However, after recording all the visuals I needed, I noticed that they were almost finished with the Valenta pack as well. And because the VP185 Enhancement Pack isn't too far away, I mean, it's at least confirmed it's going to be happening, I've decided I'm going to review all 3 of those in a separate video. Still with the Train Sim News Show style of discussion and humour, etc, etc. But I don't want to just make another episode and another episode and another episode featuring the Armstrong Powerhouse HST enhancement packs, because deep down they are all very, very similar. They just differ. Well, the main place they differ is the sound of the engines, but a lot of the features they share are very similar, if not outright the same, and that's not really a problem. It's the same train. MHD apologises for not being able to provide his opinions of these enhancement packs as fast as he normally does, which is really slow in general anyway. But I can at least show you that I've already done this. And yes, that's gonna be a running gag. So, news, what else? An idiot test was released. I mean, an idiot test. It's an idiot test! Why would you buy the 313 off Steam when it only has 1 livery? Oh man. I remember last episode when I said, the 313 was a bit underwhelming, but at least you got 10 liveries with it as opposed to 1! And it's better value as well. It's just... Do you know what the 313 on Steam is? It's a trap for people who failed Maths GCSE. That's all it is, okay? If you want the class 313, don't bother getting it through Steam. Just get it straight from the Armstrong Powerhouse, okay? Also, is it me or the Armstrong Powerhouse becoming a lot more greedy as of recently? Not just the idiot test on Steam, but also with that recently improved wagon sound pack that they released. They run on some really, really strange logic. Let's improve one of the sounds from the wagon pack, not the other 4 types, just one type, and release it for the same price as the original whilst taking the original down. Oh, it also qualifies as an enhancement pack by their own definition, but it's not an enhancement pack because no one would buy it then. Funny how their definitions change when it's more suitable for them. But at least it sounds good. Well, yeah, I'd agree with you on that. It's nice to have a slightly different flange sound for once. Well, until you reach about, 15-20 miles an hour. Oh, by the way, Sonic 06 has a cracking soundtrack. Therefore, Sonic 06 is good. No. Moving on. In other news related to the Armstrong Powerhouse, along with some fancy new wagons which totally do not look familiar, we have a Class 59 Enhancement Pack confirmed. Nah, that would be somewhat appreciated. Instead, have another 66 Enhancement Pack. Wait, what? 66?
Oh, come on!
For what purpose does this enhancement pack serve when the original 66 Sound Pack Pro, for all intent and purposes, is fine? The last 2 trains I can think of you could use to attempt to justify the existence of enhancement packs are the Class 37 and the Class 66. I mean, did you make the Class 66 Pro sound pack worse on purpose so you could do this in the future? I'm not saying you have, but I hope that's not the case, because that would be incredibly greedy. it hasn't even been 2 years since it was released. But hey, don't you worry, this enhancement pack is all fully justified because of the new fancy scripts, and look at that exhaust and clag, innit?
Look at that. God, you're sexy. Come on. Oh, she's opened up! Yes! Oh, yes! Oh my fucking God! Oh! That's just opened up!
I will never use that clip again, I am sorry. Okay, I know there's something everybody wants to hear my opinion on. You know, Master Key simulations? Specifically the Class 460 that they're currently making. Well, I think the textures look really nice. The modelling is also pretty good in general. The sounds are pretty nice as well. I can't remember if a Class 460 sounds different from a 458. I think it's a really minor difference if they do. But yeah, it sounds alright. Note the lack of hype I have. I don't think that this is the best add-on on Train Simulator, despite numerous people jumping up and down saying it is when it hasn't even been released yet. Those kinds of people sicken me. They are the worst types of consumers. It's best to remain impartial or neutral. Excited? Yeah, but not to the point where you say it's the best add-on on Train Simulator, especially when it's a very limited train in its own right. Of course, you can make fictional scenarios and stuff like that. No one will stop you from doing that. Even the route that I'm building is completely fictional to an extent, but, you know, I don't really see myself using the Class 460 that much. Now, if it was a 4585 on the other hand, that would be a different situation, because I'd actually use that on my own route. I can at least appreciate the effort put into making it, even for a train that I don't really care for that much. I'd rather it be made well than rushed. And to their credit, Master Key simulations as a whole, they do seem very approachable, especially in terms of comments and criticism. I've only commented on their page once, but I haven't really seen any major issues with them whatsoever. Just don't try talking about them on UK Train Sim, because the thread will get locked. UK Train Sim, the home of rational discussion. Oh, and Geordie's behind it as well, no shock there. I got the impression that Geordie was involved in some way, shape or form after he posted this picture on the Train Sim Dev forum, though he also posted these pictures as well. You know what that means?
Class 373 Eurostar confirmed.
Nah, I'm thinking way too ahead of myself. Moving on to Just Trains news, and we got more updates for the Chiltern Main Line, and they're also extending the Western Main Lines from Exeter to Plymouth and beyond. Roll the montage. No, wait a second. Roll back. That's not too bad, actually. Thank you for acknowledging the existence. Oh, never mind, I take it back. It looks like crap, even for AI. The train team Berlin can do AI stock to a more than decent and acceptable standard. What's stopping you guys? Oh, and that Kuju track still looks like crap. I'm not going to waste my time reviewing that. I will say that semaphore signal model looks really nice though. Moving on. So to end today's episode of the Train Sim News Show, I am going to be replying to a wall of text. Well, in a bit, but before that, I'm going to be taking viewer advice. Do you remember that video I made about dovetail on quality control? Well, I received a comment a while ago of a ingenious plan that, you know what, let's try and follow it right now, just to see how good this plan is.
It is a very good plan, in my eyes.
Plan? Alright, I'll play the clip.
It doesn't matter who we are. What matters is our plan.
1. Go onto Train Sim Live and shout about quality, humiliating Matt Pedalston, one of the staff at DTG.
That's like going into a Lidl and shouting, Aldi is better. It doesn't really achieve much other than lowering your own dignity, mainly for going into Lidl.
2. Make a petition for the Armstrong Powerhouse to make their own good quality train simulator.
Ah yes, petitions, known worldwide for their 100% success rate. Also, the Armstrong Powerhouse, in fact, no developer in Train Simulator is obliged to make their own video game, and even then, I think the Armstrong Powerhouse will most likely stick to what they're currently doing now.
3. Laugh at DTG.
Okay, laugh.
4. Laugh at DTG again.
Sure, laugh again.
5. Insult DTG.
Your mother.
6. Laugh at DTG.
You sure? Okay then. Well, on the upside, at least the plan was, for the most part, harmless. On the downside, we've moved no closer to our destination whatsoever. So the wall of text that I'm going to reply to was written by our good old friend from the south, Mr. Danny. Now please, commenters, drop your weapons. I am not attacking him. I mean, there's sod all to attack anyway, and even then it wouldn't achieve anything. This isn't a bad comment per se, it's if anything asked more like a question. And you know what, I'm going to try my best at answering when applicable. Again, it's really not that bad. At worst, there's some minor spelling and grammatical errors here or there, but that's fine. We're going to reply to it right now. And if any of you have seen Albie's comment, my reply will be somewhat similar to that. But first, the obligatory transition.
Firstly, apologies if this seems like a rant. It isn't intended to be one.
It's a fine thing, lad.
No need to worry, mate. A rant is rambling and incoherent. Or if you're from UK Train Sim, a passage of text I disagree with. But I can understand you perfectly fine here, so continue.
Also to note, this isn't a moan about any person, just really about frustrations with scenarios on Workshop, and damned if you do, and damned if you don't for free were reskins / marketplace reskins used in scenarios. Also, I'm not forcing people to buy marketplace reskins. I have never done that and never will.
See, dear viewers, it's all going well so far. There's no fire, no flame wars or anything like that. It's all going fine. No, really, it is.
Honest question. The question is at the end. For people about workshop scenarios. So far I have discovered that if I use the usual comments or complaints, marketplace reskins, or anything from marketplace, this seems to be a big no for a lot of people.
And why is that, do you think?
Come on, Spy, I don't know.
Well, a mystery we will take to our graves then. Goodbye.
Referring to the class 465 reskin pack.
The problem with the Steam Marketplace is, well, it's essentially a similar problem with the DLC model, just accentuated to an unnecessary level. Content on the marketplace doesn't reward people who invest in them, it punishes those who don't. Here's an example. I want to have an area of ongoing construction on my route. You know, have a proper construction site and stuff like that. Oh look, assets that can help me achieve that look. Oh yay, I have to pay for them. It's essentially buying power. If you don't invest in using those assets, your route could theoretically look less realistic because of it. Not to mention, if you use those assets on your own route, other people will have to invest in getting those assets as well. Isn't that lovely? Now, regards to your 465 pack, I'm gonna be completely honest, I'm not sold, not one bit. Where are the new DDA compliant toilets and wheelchair spacing on the Class 465 Variant 9? Where is the first class seating on the Variant 9? And don't tell me interior and exterior modifications to the model is a bit too much for the marketplace. It was done for the Provincial 143, why not here? Why is the cab view still rubbish? It looks like so much was lifted from the default Kuju 166. Also, there's no clock for some odd reason. And there are supposed to be 2 gauges right here, showing what I presume is tractive effort and brake rate. If someone knows what they actually are, please tell me in the comments. But for some reason, they are missing. Here's a fun fact, the MSTS version has those 2 gauges and a clock. And that was from 2005, 11 years later, and it's a bit too much to ask to be included in the best train simulator ever. What a mess. And why is the daytime light brighter than the nighttime light? And granted, it's not BR189 bright, where you could basically see forever, but still, come on. The 465 and 466 on Train Simulator have been crudely made, especially the 465 variant 0, 1 and the 466. In fact, I'm going to show you a few of my favourite problems with the 466, just as a bit of a bonus. Don't worry, we'll get back to replying in a bit. Here we have a Class 466 in a different formation. Instead of a driving motor and a driving trailer, what we have here are two driving trailers. Thus, all of the axles are unpowered, which means if we do a full throttle start, we accelerate faster than a 465? What? The other problem the 466 has on Train Simulator, well, you know they had to remove some seats, so obviously so they can model the toilet in? You know, that's fine, obviously, because that's what it's like in real life. They forgot to remove one of the passengers, and one of the passengers is also sitting the wrong way round. So, yeah, the video speaks for itself. Really cheap. You know, if Dovetail's QA and QC department was any less funded, they might as well just up sticks and work for Network Rail.
Using free reskins also has an issue. Lots of people can't install them properly. I can understand this.
Lots? I beg to differ. If lots of people couldn't install reskins, the community wouldn't waste their time making reskins because nobody would be able to install them. It's different if people can't be bothered to read the instructions, or, I don't know, if the instructions aren't clear enough. But most of the reskins I install, the instructions are, well, they seem more than clear enough for me. Like, say, for example, the ones on DPS. They have clear instructions. That's all I've got on that one. I just disagree.
Not using free reskins to make the scenario look completely up to date. Sort of damned if you do, and damned if you don't.
One of the reasons reskins are created is to fill in gaps left in by the developers. If you don't want these gaps being filled in by the community, make sure the gaps are filled in before they are released. Can you take a guess as to why this reskin exists? Go on. It's not that hard to work out.
Using reskins and marketplace, it happens too.
Well, isn't that a recipe for disaster?
Using any DLC other than the original route. For some routes you have to. South London network, for example, Luxod with many 456s. I know this, because I did some of those scenarios, and had to use more than actually exist to make it look busy.
Well, maybe you could ask your colleagues, why did we only include the Class 456 on the South London lines? No Class 377 Variant 6, no Class 455s, no 319s, just a 456 and a 377 reskin. And whilst you're at it, ask them why you didn't go to Beckenham Junction or Blackfriars.
The reason I ask this is because I wanted to use the marketplace things that I've done for workshop scenarios. But it seems that it's frowned upon to actually use them. Almost all the time they are downrated badly because of this, which is why I haven't made any scenarios since then.
Oh wow, you stopped making scenarios because you got downvoted. That is pathetic. Even the flat earthers are above that. Not in terms of rationality and discussion. Oh no, you're way above them. I'm just talking that factor alone. It's just a downvote. It's not gonna hurt you. It's not gonna steal your dog and reclaim it as its own. And it's not gonna take away your benefits, alright? When people downvote your stuff, it's usually because they don't like it, or they disagree with you, or they want to get back at you in some way, shape or form. I can at least get one little thought out of your head. I don't actually go around downvoting your stuff at random at all. In fact, I have never downvoted anything you have made. As in pressing the button downvoting, you know, that kind. I have a question for you. Did you change the names of the stations on your fictional route because you were getting downvoted? Because I remember watching one of the earlier videos, which has now been deleted, and it had a fair amount of downvotes, but yeah, please, prove me wrong.
The question. So the question I have is, do I make scenarios for freeware reskins or marketplace ones?
Freeware. Simple.
There is the option for both of course, but this doubles the amount of work. Personally, I'd like to use the marketplace ones, because workshop was the reason they were made for.
Really now? Must have missed that memo.
But I know there are a few people who are very against this. I won't name people of course, because that isn't fair, and they are allowed opinions too.
That is a level of rationality that people like Sophie LaBellend could only dream of. If you don't understand, watch the webcomic video I made. But yeah, it's good that you're that rational, Mr. Danny, sir.
In my case, for the 465, I made these reskins 3 years ago, and was frustrated that they weren't released sooner.
Even if they were released 3 years ago, that's still 1 year after the 465 was released. So it still would have felt just as cheap and as greedy then as it would now.
There are also many more people that can't install freeware reskins, as well as some that don't want to.
There's a big difference between those who can't and those who don't want to. The only solution I have for the former is clearer instructions, but we live in a day and age where some people can't be bothered to spend 5 minutes of their precious life copying over a few GOPCDX files, so
The reskin packs in question. The class 375 pack.
Why yes, Danny. Why would you like to use a 377 reskin? Which, to the date of me recording this, has become a bit more, let's say, inconvenient. Because, hang on, what train have Southeastern started to use all of a sudden? Make of that what you will, dear viewer.
At the moment with Chatham mainline it is redundant.
Well, if you knew that, why did you bother making it? Surely somebody in your development team must have told you, yeah, mate, we're already making a 375. Don't waste your time making a 377 for the marketplace. It'll be redundant within a few months. Your workplace cannot be that disconnected. I mean, if it was, then that rivals Valve.
But in future we'll get an update with all the SE liveries for the 375 over 6/7 and /3 with a lot of named variants too, and an additional 375 over 8 in dark blue, with no cameras or first class interior doors.
Well, why not now? Why release something incomplete and attempt to fill it in after the community have done their best to try and fill in the gaps already?
Can't say when the update will be released though, because I don't know.
So there could be a distinct possibility that it could be released just as soon as Crossrail opens, or High Speed 2, or when they eventually put 12-car trains on the Windsor line.
The class 465 pack should have been released 3 years ago, but was kept on hold.
I don't care if it's been delayed for 3 years or 3 days, the end product is still rubbish.
But got updated to include a 465 over 9 when released.
So if it was released on time, would the Class 465 Variant 9 be released in its own separate marketplace pack? You know, to accentuate the problem even more? Wouldn't be half surprised if that ended up happening instead.
The Class 421 Jaffa Cake livery. Not heard anything bad about this one. I've seen it used, but not that much.
I've got nothing to add regards to the Jaffa Cake 421. I think somebody's making a freeware skin of it for the Hastings line. Oh yeah, the Avier guy, yeah, that guy. The same guy who made that backdated North London line. But other than that, yeah, I've got nothing to add. So that's the end of the reply. Nothing really problematic, as I said. And to be honest, after ripping apart that webcomic, it was a breath of fresh air. I hope you found the information useful, Mr. Danny, sir. And to quote Aperture Science, testing is the future. Which is something Dovetail could really do with some funding in. Well, that's all I've got to discuss today. It's nice to have a slightly shorter episode than normally. I do have some other news. First, they're going to be taking over my local lines. That's just brilliant. I really wish the railways were nationalised, and I hope they don't enforce DOO, because the second they do, it's going to be, you know, Southern all over again. And then I'll probably have to move to Milton Keynes just to get into London or something. Oh, I have a few more video ideas I'm currently brainstorming. Some train simulator related ones, some not train simulator related ones, and even I'm considering making a new video series that I'll be able to make on a more frequent basis, but we'll have to see how I feel regards to that. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll speak to you guys next time. Goodbye.